Earlier today, YouTube user Catch22 here commented on one of my videos. It was episode 8 of Critical Thinking in the Bible, in which I discussed the Ransom doctrine. Catch22 made kind of a broad adaptation of an illustration I had used in that video. And bar none, Catch22's analogy he gives is by far the most creative and interesting I've ever heard. And it's entertaining. It's funny to read. But it does have a problem. And I hope he doesn't get offended that I say that. I'm certainly not meaning it in an offensive way. It shares a problem with every other explanation I have ever heard throughout my entire life. Anytime someone tries to explain the original sin and/or the ransom doctrines. So I want to use his analogy that he made as an example of what that problem is. Now, the problem itself is that in the Bible and in Judeo-Christian doctrine, God is all-powerful. He's omnipotent, almighty. Basically, he can do anything he wants. He created the entire universe. He created all life. He was able to turn dust into gnats and make the sun stand still in the sky and all these other things. Yet, when it comes to explaining the original sin and the ransom, God suddenly has to be stripped of his omnipotence in order for it to make sense. He has to be reacting to situations in which he is mostly powerless, rather than being completely in control of in those situations, which, if he is omnipotent, he would be. Anyway, first I'm going to read Catch22's analogy as he wrote it, and then I'm going to read how it would be worded, essentially how it would be worded if this problem were not evident. Anyway, here it goes. This is the original Catch22 version. He says, Sheriff Blow owns the horses, and he gave the townsmen free will to ride any of them, but prohibited riding the horse carrying the canteen that was filled with a mind-altering substance which acts like a poison. Once ingested, this substance alters a person's DNA, which is a process which will not be reversed. It rots the body, but it also opens one's mind up in unparalleled ways, allowing one an almost sixth sense, which is also prone to destructive predilections. On top of that, it turns your skin green when you exercise these predilections, and an unusual inflammation, to be sure. Unfortunately, the sheriff can't stand to look at green. Curious reaction on the sheriff's part, but that is the way it is nonetheless. So strong is the reaction that he literally has to turn his eyes from it. But Sheriff Blow is a unique individual who loves his townsmen and townswomen very much. So when the townsmen drank from the canteen, it troubled the sheriff that he could no longer have a relationship with those whom he loved so deeply. He resolved to treat the townsmen's offspring who had inherited this genetic condition. In this town, there are actually 3 persons who are sheriff. Go figure. One of whom doubles as the town doctor. His name is Blow, too. This works out great because the doctor has a natural antidote in his blood. The antidote clears up the green skin on contact. The antidote sinks deep into the body and basically makes you a new person. Not only can others see the change, but you can feel the change as well. Your DNA is still the same, though you will still break out in a green rash from time to time, and your body will still die, but now the antidote that you bathed in is now in you forever, will kick in and clear up the rash, making you fit for the sheriff's eyes. Okay. Sheriff Blow, representing God in this analogy, is essentially powerless in a lot of ways. Once ingested, the person's DNA is changed, a process which will not be reversed. Unfortunately, the sheriff can't stand to look at green, so strong is the reaction that he literally has to turn his eyes from it, etc., etc. He is simply reacting to situations which he cannot actually alter. He didn't set them up, he can't alter them. So now I'm going to adapt this analogy just a bit, and I'm going to give Sheriff Blow back the power that he should have if he is to represent the God of the Bible in the Ransom doctrine. Sheriff Blow owns the horses, and he gave the townsmen free will to ride any of them, but prohibited riding the horse carrying the canteen that was filled with a mind-altering substance, which Sheriff Blow decided would act like a poison. Once ingested, Sheriff Blow decided that this substance would alter a person's DNA, a process which Sheriff Blow decided would not be reversed. Sheriff Blow decided that it would rot the body, but it would also open up one's mind in unparalleled ways, allowing one almost a sixth sense, which Sheriff Blow decided would also be prone to destructive predilections. On top of that, Sheriff Blow decided that it would turn your skin green when you exercise these predilections. Unfortunately, the sheriff had decided that he wouldn't be able to stand to look at green. It would be a curious reaction on the sheriff's part, but that is the way it is. So strong is the reaction that Sheriff Blow decided he would have, that he decided he would literally have to turn his eyes from it. But Sheriff Blow is a unique individual who loves his townsmen and townswomen very much. So when the townsmen drank from the canteen, it troubled the sheriff that he had decided he would no longer be able to have a relationship with those whom he loved so deeply. So he resolved to treat the townsmen's offspring, who he had decided would inherit this genetic green condition. In this town, there are actually 3 persons who are sheriff. Go figure. One of whom doubles as the town doctor. His name is Blow 2. This works out great, because Sheriff Blow decided that the doctor would have a natural antidote, and it would be in his blood. Sheriff Blow decided that the antidote would clear up the green skin on contact, that it would sink deep into the body and basically make you a new person. Not only would others be able to see the change, but you would be able to feel it as well. But Sheriff Blow decided that your DNA would still be the same, so you would still break out in a green rash from time to time. In other words, Sheriff Blow had decided that it wouldn't be a complete antidote, just a partial relief of the symptoms. And you would still break out in a green rash from time to time, and your body would still die. But he decided that the antidote that you had bathed in would now be in you forever, and would kick up occasionally and clear up the rash, making you again fit for the sheriff's eyes. Well, that was it, and I hope I didn't stumble around too much, so I hope it's easy to understand. Essentially, when you give Sheriff Blow back the power he would have if he's representing an all-powerful God, then again you wind up with a crazy Sheriff Blow. You have to wonder why he would arrange things that way, why he would have the antidote not work completely, why he would have the antidote be in Sheriff Blow's blood if he could have it come from elsewhere, why he would design the poison to make the skin green if he had already decided he wouldn't be able to stand to look at the color green. It still produces a crazy sheriff. In my analogy, in the adapted analogy, and in all of the other analogies and explanations, in order to make sense of the ransom doctrine, God has to be working within a set of situations which he cannot control. He has to be responding to things rather than controlling things. In other words, you have to remove the omnipotence from God in order to make the ransom make sense.